is Walt Weiss here on your flagship for Braves baseball. Walt, congrats on the gig, and thanks for making some time for us this morning.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
So when did you find out this was going to happen for you? This was going to become your reality?
Well, and my head's still spinning a little bit. I found out yesterday, and then a few hours later, I was on a plane to Atlanta from Denver for a press conference today. So in the end, of course, the process wasn't fast, and it was thorough. But when things started to come together, it went real fast. So a lot to cover in the upcoming days, but we're really excited for this.
Hey, Walt, I like what you talked about with technology and information, but there are going to be a lot of people who just say, oh, he's an old school guy. So what is your definition? What does that mean? If people believe that about you, what do you think old school really means in baseball?
Look, I mean, the sweet spot is the blend, right? It's the gathering of the information and technology that's available to us today, and combining that with the wisdom that comes from being in uniform for a long time and being around a lot of smart people. So finding that sweet spot is the key, and it's a competitive advantage. I'm as curious as anybody, and I get a kick. People talk about analytics like it's some mystical term. It's just information, and we have more of it in this day and age. But we've always used information in this game. There's just more to sift through these days. So it's not this complicated, topic, analytics. It's pretty basic, really. It's about putting context to the information that helps you win a game every night.
And we talked about eyeballs and heartbeats over the years. Can you just explain what that means in your mind?
Well, yeah, you got to trust your eyes, that's where the wisdom comes in, and look, you lean on your staff too, over the course of a game, when you're watching a pitcher, it's time to make a move here, and we're dealing with human beings. The human element is never going away till this game is played by robots. So if you're not in tune with that, you're missing the picture. So at the end of the day, this job is about leadership, period. I mean, we get judged on our pitching moves, our bullpen management, that type of thing. But I got to tell you, man, I've been in this game for 35 years in a number of roles. I know when to get the left-hander. So it's more about creating a culture where players can thrive and putting them in positions to win and creating a culture where guys love coming to the yard, and they love competing, and they love doing it with each other. And there's respect and trust, and everyone cares for each other. That's foundational, and that's what a leader does. A leader creates that kind of environment.
Walt Weiss, new Braves manager, with us on the Loud Security Systems Newsmaker line. You talked about the influence and what you learned from Brian Snitker. But that being said, how are you different from Brian Snitker? How do you think you'll be as a manager?
Yeah, look, like I said, I know there's just people clamoring for change out there, and I get it. But I think you got to maintain perspective here. Like I said, our last 8 years, other than the Dodgers, every team is signing up for it. 7 postseasons, 6 division titles, a world championship. So I think we can't lose sight of that now, and we need to honor Snit for that. Now, look, I'm gonna take things I learned from Snit, and I said it's a press conference. I'm also going to do the same, with the lessons I learned from Tony La Russa, Bobby Cox, all my managers, Renee Latchman, Don Baylor, Clint Hurdle. I either played for or worked with all these men, and so it's in the end, it's going to be very different. My leadership style is very different. Look, if Snit was taking over for me, I expect him to say the same thing. So, Pat Murphy took over for Craig Counsell in Milwaukee. He's nothing like Craig Counsell. I know them both very well. They couldn't be more different. Are people saying that he's just like Craig Counsell? Joe Espada took over for Dusty Baker. Is Joe just like Dusty Baker? It's kind of a ridiculous take when you think about it. Are you just like the people you work with? But my leadership style is going to be different. I think my personality and Snit's personalities complemented each other extremely well, and it was an unbelievable fit. But in the end, we're different people, and our personalities and our styles are going to be different.
It's funny you say that because Steve Phillips joined us earlier. He said when he was an assistant GM, he kind of went along with the program more, but when he became the GM, he had his own style. So I'm glad you brought that up. Just because you work with somebody doesn't mean you're the same person.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think you know, when you dissect it, it's kind of foolish to think that way. Obviously, there's going to be an influence there, but like I said, I have a lot of influences in this game, and but in the end, it's going to be my style, my delivery.
You know, a lot of people talk about rules, and it's real simple. I've known you well enough to know. I think Bobby Cox was the same way. Treat men like men until they prove they can't handle it. Respect the game, respect the uniform. It really isn't more than that, is it? Even with all the changes that the game has had in the last 20 years?
Yeah, look, that's cultural, right? And that's important. You got to have standards, and then you got to enforce those standards, or you have nothing. So, you know, that'll be a big part of what I do. And the beauty of this is a lot of those things are already in place. You know, I'm proud to be, you know, Snit and I are both part of the Bobby Cox lineage, and you're damn right, I'm proud of that. And I think it's great that Bobby's legacy is somewhat extended here. You know, we're talking about a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. And I played for him for 3 years, learned a ton from Bobby and how he created loyalty in a room. He was the best I ever saw creating loyalty amongst the group.
Is there a timeline? I'm sorry, Walt. Is there a timeline for
Yeah.
staff, and could we see some perhaps familiar faces coming back?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Like I said, this thing has happened so fast. I just found out yesterday. You know, it's probably been less than 24 hours since I found out I got the job. So that stuff will happen probably, you know, over the course of the next several days. But yeah, I got nothing to give you right now.
How many people have applied? If you looked at your text when you were on a plane last night, how many people are, hey, don't forget about me. I think I'd be really good at this job.
Well, I'll say this, that there's more applicants than there is spots on the staff.
Now, will you still hit ground balls, or is that all done? Are we never going to have that time on the field, or is that going to be all done now? Do you have to be a manager now?
You're going to get more than your fair share of time with me, D. Believe me, it won't be just during hitting ground balls. But, you know, no, I mean, probably not. I mean, I still like to do that, so maybe occasionally, but that won't be a part of the daily business.
So what was it like? You were kind of, I guess, in limbo before they said the job is yours. How do you deal mentally with waiting like that?
Yeah. Look, it wasn't easy because, and look, when this process first started, there was no doubt in my mind, and if I can say this about myself, that I was the best fit for this job, you know, and that has nothing to do with who may or who may not have interviewed. Has nothing to do with that. You know, but as time went on, you just never know what's going to happen. You know, you're not making the decisions, and at some point, it's out of your control. You do what you can do. But yeah, there were times as the weeks went on, and like I said in the press conference, we all know how stealthy Alex is, and you start to read between the lines and read into things. And like I said earlier, yeah, there were times where I thought, man, well, this ship has probably sailed, but. You know, it's just a testament to Alex's thoroughness. You know, he's not going to do anything knee-jerk. So I think that in the end, that's the reason why the process was somewhat lengthy.
Well, Walt, listen, congratulations. We know you got a lot of media responsibilities today, and also you're going back to your playing number, so that's got to be nice for you as well.
Yeah, no, it is, man. I appreciate you pointing that out. I mean, I've been 22 most of my life since I've been about 6 years old, and that's a Mercury Morris thing. I think you know that, D. Back in the day, I'm aging myself now, but that was my guy, man. I've been 22 ever since.
Well, I know it was great to have your sons there. I know it was great to have your wife there. Congratulations. I know there's going to be people now for the next few months looking and keeping an eye on what the roster might look like, and I know you're going to have some input in that. So we look forward to catching up with you when those types of decisions, including the staff, come about.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I look forward to being around, man.